I'm making a short little video about my 3 favorite plants here at the garden at home. And at the top of my list right now is the Shasta daisy. Here I've got a nice clump on camera. These are, of course, well past their peak bloom, and I've long since cut away the deadheads and off to the compost pile. But the thing I like about the Shasta daisy is, even this late in the season, there's still something that's actually fairly nice to look at, even though all the blooms are gone. You end up with something that kind of takes on the appearance of a nice shrub, and so I kind of like having it around well through September. Still looking pretty good. My second favorite perennial plant in the yard are the brown-eyed Susans, and these start blooming in late July or early August, and they hold their blooms for, I think, a fairly long time. And they not only do they continue to bloom, but it's a very healthy bloom, and it stands up well to the test of time. And these look like a really nice looking shrub going into even mid to late September sometimes. And my third most favorite flowering perennial are the sedum, and this is starting to be early September, so they're looking a little bit rough now, but they look really good through the summer. And in late August, early September, the blooms start turning color a little bit and attract a large number of bees. Example, there's one right there, in fact, and over there as well, and there's a couple over there in the distance. So the bees really like these, and the bees are all over them through much of the first 2 to 3 weeks in September. So we do like having these in the garden as well. And coming in at number 4, just outside that top 3, of course, hostas. I think everybody likes hostas. They hold up well through the season if you don't end up with a lot of slug damage. But they cover a lot of territory, and they hold off the weeds a bit where they happen to be growing. We've got 3 or 4 different varieties, and this particular variety is still blooming very nicely here in September. Some of the others are past it now, but they will cover a lot of territory, and they are very easy to divide out and do tolerate some abuse in that respect. So they're really a nice addition to the garden. And I might as well talk about the catmint while there's a cat over here at the catmint. The catmint are really nice to have around because they grow readily, they bloom. I do end up, after the blooms are shot, I cut them back quite a bit. The cats enjoy that. They like to roll around in the cut catmint, and then it will fill out and bloom a second time during the year. So these are really strong growers, and they can take up quite a bit of space in your garden if you don't keep them under control. Of course, here in early September, the sundrops don't look that spectacular, but they are a nice... Oops, there goes one of the cats. Must have seen some kind of a rodent it wanted to chase. In any event, the sundrops form a nice thick cluster. They have a very strong stem and stand up well throughout the season, and they spread very readily with rhizomes underground, I think. And in fact, if we take a look, you can see some here on the periphery of this stand of sundrops that are trying to work their way up even here in early September. So probably one of the interesting things about them is they will spread readily side to side, and you do have to kind of keep them under control in that respect. If you want to keep some separation between your different varieties of plant, but you could always just let them go and have fun. So I really like these sundrops. Obviously, their blooms aren't there now, so you can't really see what they look like when they're in full bloom, but they do make a really nice thick stand of flowering plant. And when the blooms are past it, you know, if you're into deadheading, as I recall with these sundrops, I never really would end up going around deadheading them. The blooms just seem to fall apart naturally on their own. So other than trying to keep them from spreading too far into other plants and other parts of your landscape, there's not a lot of work involved with these. And the bee balm is also a nice addition to the garden out in your yard. I have this particular variety that grows about 4 feet tall, and it does have a very nice thick stand. They're self-seeding, and of course the pollinators love them. These still have their dead heads on them yet for the time being. They'll leave them there for a while to come. They spread and thicken up quite readily, so they're very good to have around the garden. In fact, I think you can see some, if you look closer, there's some smaller ones scattered around even just over there, as they've seeded and do spread themselves on their own. So they're very, very nice addition to the garden in the backyard.